Hello students, here I am to deal with chapter 3 water. This will be the second video for this chapter where we will study about crystal and crystallization, then how we form a crystal, water of crystallization, then types of crystal or type of substance that can be fluorescent substance, deliquescent substance, hygroscopic substance and drying agent. Further we will study about water, type of water, hard and soft water, what are the causes of hardness of water, now what are the sources of hard water as well as how it can be removed. So we will just start from the first topic, that is crystal. So crystal, when hot saturated solution is cooled, the excess solid is generally thrown out in the form of particles having a definite geometric shape, and the particle is called as crystal. Okay, so for a formation of a crystal, if anybody asks how the crystal is formed or what are the conditions necessary for the formation of crystal, that can be we have to go through whenever the hot saturated solution is cooled, the excess amount of solid which is thrown out. Whenever we used to prepare a hot saturated solution or saturated solution, in that condition we keep on adding a solute to a solvent. Then only after some time interval, what happened, the substance cannot be further added to a solvent. So we say that that particular solution is saturated. So for preparation of crystal, first condition is we have to make a hot saturated solution, and after that we have to cool it. So whatever the excess amount of solid will remains there, they will be collected at the bottom and they will form a particular shape, and that particular shape will be called as crystal. Then what are the properties of crystals? They are homogeneous solid, they are arranged symmetrically, and they are bounded by a plane surface having a definite angle. Okay, they are having a definite angle. Okay, so we have to go through these all properties of a crystal, where as it is given ki homogeneous solid, it means we have only prepared that particular solution with the help of only one salt, okay, or one particular substance only we have taken, then only we have prepared a solution, so it is homogeneous. Then arranged symmetrically means they will be having some particular angle and they will be having its own surface. They will be called as properties of crystal. Now here are some shapes of crystal which you can see and identify that they are meeting at a sharp edge having a particular angle. Okay, so therefore these are the shapes of crystal. You can go through it: cubic, tetragonal, triclinic, orthombic, hexagonal, monoclinic, triangle. Okay, now we will go through our next topic, that is crystallization. So the process by which crystals are separated or deposited from a hot saturated solution of a substance on cooling gently is called as crystallization. Okay, so the process by which, what are the steps is being involved for the formation of crystal, that is only called as crystallization. And for formation of crystal there is a condition. First condition is there should be hot saturated solution. Second condition is it should be cooled slowly. Okay, if you will cool it rapidly, what will happen? It will not form a crystal of that much of size what we want or what the intensity is. Therefore we have to cool it slowly, then only appropriate size crystals form. Third is the slow evaporation enhance the concentration of solute, causing the formation of well-defined crystal. When we will slowly evaporate it, then only the formation of crystal will enhance of that particular size whatever we want. Next we will go through our next topic, that is crystallization. So the same thing, crystallization refers to the formation of solid crystals from a homogeneous solution. Next technique is totally based on the principle of solubility or technique used to purify solid compound. Then impurities are excluded from the growing crystals and the pure solid crystals can be separated from the dissolved impurities by the filtration, and a few part per million can be altered by the process of product formed beyond the recognition. Next is preparation of crystal. In your book page number 40, preparation of crystal is given, page number 40, point number 3. Here with one example, that is to prepare a large size crystal of potassium nitrate given. And here I have taken a simple method or simple steps how to prepare a crystal. You can go through it and it will be more clear when you will go through page number 40, this part, okay. So if suppose you are forming a crystal or if you are going through a process of formation of crystals, what are the process you have to follow. First, you have to prepare a saturated solution at a specific temperature. Means temperature you have to fix it at that temperature only you have to make a saturated solution. Second, you have to filter that solution and allow that particular filtrate to cool in the another beaker. First you prepare a hot saturated solution at a particular temperature. Then after you just filter it and allow it to cool slowly for a time interval in another beaker. After some time you will see in the particular beaker there will be tiny crystals form at the bottom of a beaker. Now what you have to do, that will be the small crystal. That crystal will be called as seed crystal na. Therefore we will take that crystal and we will tie that crystal one end with the help of thread, and second end of the thread we will tie with a glass rod and we will keep it on that particular beaker. Then we will see a well formed crystals will formed in that particular substance, and a beaker will be covered with a muslin cloth just to prevent the dust particle entering from it, okay. So these are the steps you have to follow for the preparation of a crystal. I hope this much is clear. You can go through page number 40 and this step will be more clear to you. Next, water of crystallization. Now whenever the crystal forms, crystals will be having its own angle and it will be having its own shape. Now water of crystallization means a fixed number of water molecules which enter into the loose chemical combination with a substance when the substance is crystallized from its hot saturated solution is called as water of crystallization. Whenever there is a formation of hot saturated solution, when it cools, what happens? The crystal will be forming and some of the crystal will deposit. In that condition they will be having some water molecules inside it. Whatever the amount of spaces, whatever the loose spaces are available, there the molecule of water enter and further it allow to give a water of crystallization, means the particular water added to the particular substance led to form a crystal of that particular substance which is called as water of crystallization. And for this condition, means for water of crystallization, the geometric shape and color of a crystal is identified. As a simple example, I am taking copper sulfate pentahydrate. Pentahydrate means 5 molecules of water. When copper sulfate is dissolved in water, see earlier copper sulfate, if a simple copper sulfate CuSO4 you will take, it will be white in color. But when you will prepare a hot saturated solution, in that condition the water molecule will be combined to it and further it will lead to a formation of a blue color pentahydrate copper sulfate, as well as it will be having crystalline state. So earlier copper sulfate was amorphous in state. Right now when it is changing into water of crystallization, it is having crystalline state. So these all are the changes takes place whenever any of a salt, if it in the loose chemical combination, goes through a process of addition of water in it. Okay, so on the basis of this number of water of crystallization, there are different types of substance. First we will go through hydrated substance and anhydrous substance. So what is hydrated substance? Substance contain fixed number of water molecule in a loose combination with the substance is called as hydrated substance. For example, copper sulfate pentahydrate, magnesium sulfate heptahydrate and different other examples. Next, anhydrous substance. This anhydrous substance does not contain any fixed number of molecule in a loose combination, that is potassium nitrate, potassium chloride, lead chloride, etc. So you just see here are some examples of hydrated crystals and anhydrous crystals are given. You can easily differentiate between two. Whenever there is a word hydrated substance, means definitely there will be water molecule added to it. And anhydrous, N means removal of water molecules from it. So whenever the word is anhydrous is written, it means water molecule will not be there. Okay. So there can be a question, differentiate between hydrated substance and anhydrous substance. So first point you can go through this definition, and second point you can go through the examples of these two substances. Our next topic is or changing of hydrated substance into anhydrous substance. As I told you, one example of copper sulfate. So whenever the anhydrous substance changes to hydrous substance, what are the changing takes place? What are the conditions takes place? So see, whenever we heat hydrated substance, it loses water of crystallization and turns to anhydrous substance, where properties, colors as well as the shapes also changes. So one example is taken here, copper hydrous copper sulfate crystal, where you see कि you have to take a tripod stand, you have to fix a glass tube, test tube there, and you have to take a beaker. You will add hydrated copper sulfate in the beaker and you will heat it. When we heat it, what happen? It will loses water, and the water droplets will be collected in the beaker as well as the steam will go out. Now we will see the hydrated copper sulfate will turns to anhydrous copper sulfate. Okay, plus hydrated copper sulfate will be blue crystalline in condition, but anhydrous copper sulfate will be white powdery mass and will be anhydrous. Okay, now hydrated copper sulfate will be having a particular definite shape. They will be having defined or definite particular shape, but in a case of anhydrous there will be no any shape because it is an anhydrous powder. Okay, it is anhydrous in case, and crystalline will hydrated copper sulfate will be crystalline in nature. It will form a crystal, it will shine, it will be having sharp edge, but the anhydrous copper sulfate will be amorphous in nature, just like talcum powder. You just see it is amorphous in nature, not having a particular shape and not even too much shiny. So anhydrous copper sulfate will be amorphous in nature. So this is what condition takes place. So there can be a question, what changes takes place when we change hydrated substance to anhydrous substance. So you can go through this experiment and you can explain it properly. Ki whenever we heat hydrated substance, it turns to anhydrous and it loses its geometric shape, it loses its crystalline nature, turns to amorphous in its state and all. Okay. Then next type of substance, one substance we have seen, hydrous and anhydrous. Next type of substance is efflorescent substance and deliquescent substance. So efflorescent substance means crystalline hydrated salt which on exposure to atmosphere loses their moisture partly or completely to atmosphere. Okay, keep in your mind, efflorescent substance will be always a hydrated substance. Okay, efflorescent substance will be always hydrated substance which when exposed to atmosphere means whenever we put that particular substance in the atmosphere, what will happen? They will just changes their crystalline state to amorphous state. So 2 points you have to keep in your mind for efflorescent substance. First, it is always crystalline hydrated salt. Second thing, whenever that substance exposed to atmosphere, they loses their crystalline state and turns to amorphous state. Okay. Then second is deliquescent substance. In case of deliquescent substance, water soluble salt which on exposure to atmosphere absorb moisture from the atmosphere and dissolve by absorbing the moisture. Okay. So here what are the things you have to keep in your mind? It will be a particular salt, water soluble salt, which when exposed to atmosphere they absorb the moisture and further they changes their state to the liquid state. Okay. So what is difference between this efflorescent and deliquescent? First difference is efflorescent salts are or efflorescent substance are always crystalline hydrated salts. Deliquescent substance are always water soluble salt. Efflorescent substance when exposed to atmosphere that changes its crystalline state to amorphous state, and in deliquescent that solid state changes to liquid state. So these are the points which you have to keep in your mind for a difference between efflorescent and deliquescent substance. Now here are some examples of efflorescent and deliquescent substance. You can go through it and then easily you can identify the difference between the efflorescent substance as well as deliquescent substance. Now next topic is hygroscopic substance. Substance which absorbs moisture from the atmosphere when exposed to it but do not changes their state. That is, solid remains solid after the absorption of moisture is called as hygroscopic substance. Okay, this is clear. So when a substance is absorb moisture, whenever the substance absorb moisture, you will say whenever it is exposed to atmosphere, they do not changes their state. The solid remains solid only. Okay, and the examples are quicklime, silica gel, concentrated sulfuric acid. You can see next topic is a drying agent. Substance which are readily absorbs or remove moisture from another substance is called as drying agent, as from the name it is drying. So examples are fused calcium chloride, concentrated H2SO4, fused phosphorus pentoxide, as well as quicklime. Then depending upon the action of soap. See, just before this we have seen the what are the substance on the basis of water of crystallization and crystal. Now here we will study the types of water. So depending upon the action of a soap, action of soap means whenever we put this soap or whenever we do a reaction of soap with the water, on the basis of this there is the water is divided into two types. Okay, one is hard water, second one is soft water. So whenever we put this soap or whenever we react this soap with the water and it does not lather readily, means it will not give a foam properly, that is referred to hard water. And when it and whenever it lather readily or when the foams is forms, no further there is a wastage of soap, that will be soft water. Now first we will go through hard water. Hard water, it does not lather readily when with the ordinary soap. Means it will not react with ordinary soap, it will not give foam with that, and that water remains like that only. That is called as hard water. Now what will be the sources of hard water? That will be natural water, it means spring and river water. Okay. Now what are the substance causes hardness in water? See, this hardness in water will be of two types. One is temporary hardness, one is permanent. So temporary hardness in water causes by the bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. But the permanent hardness in water causes by chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium. This is important point which you have to keep in your mind. What are the substance causes hardness in water? So whenever there is temporary hardness, bicarbonates of magnesium and calcium, and whenever there is permanent hardness, chloride and sulfate of calcium and magnesium. Means in both the cases calcium and magnesium will be there, but the bicarbonate will be in the temporary case and calcium, chloride and sulfate will be in the permanent case. Okay. So types of hardness in water, already we have seen, one is temporary hardness in water, one is permanent hardness in water. So first we will go through the temporary hardness in water. Temporary hardness in water is mainly due to the presence of calcium and magnesium bicarbonate, that is calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate. You just see, whenever there is a rain, whenever the rainwater, all this rainwater contains carbon dioxide, okay, and when they fall on the surface of earth, it combines with the limestone or the magnesite layer. Okay, it combines with a limestone or a magnesite layer. That limestone is calcium carbonate and magnesite is magnesium carbonate. And further they form a respective soluble salts. In a case of calcium bicarbonate and in a case of magnesium bicarbonate. Therefore, this reactions takes place where water is already rainwater and in atmosphere carbon dioxide is available. So water and carbon dioxide is available. Further, when they fall on the surface of earth, they combine with calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate. Further, they led to the formation of calcium hydrogen carbonate as well as magnesium hydrogen carbonate. Now, these two are responsible for the temporary hardness in the water. So, you have to learn this reaction, you have to go through this reaction, you have to practice this reaction, or there can be a question, write a reaction which causes a temporary hardness in water. So you have to give these two reactions. Okay. Next you see how you have to remove the temporary hardness. If suppose temporary hardness takes place, how you will remove it? Simplest method is to boil it. Okay. Take that particular water in a beaker, boil it. When you will boil it, what will happen? See, that particular carbon dioxide in a form of vapor it removes, in the form of gas it will go out. Okay. Water remains in that container only. And when you will boil it for a time interval, white color substance or something white color it will be collected at the bottom of that particular beaker. That will be either calcium carbonate or magnesium carbonate. Simply this experiment you can do at your home. You can take tap water or you can take hand pump water in any of a utensils, you can say. Suppose you have taken in a jug or any utensils, you just take it and just keep on the burner and allow it to cool for a time interval. Suppose 5 to 10 minutes you boil it. After boiling it, you just cover it with the lid or remove it uncovered. After 5 to 10 minutes you just see water molecules remains like that. Some of the gas will evaporate and some white color substance collected at the bottom of that particular utensils you will see. Okay. So that white color substance will be calcium and magnesium carbonate. Further carbon dioxide is already removed and water remains in that utensil only. You can filter it properly such that no excess that white color substance comes in that particular area where you are filtering. And when you will drink it, suppose you drink it, so that will be pure water, filtered water, or you can say purified water, because the soluble substance remains in that area only, in that utensil only. Now you got water and that will be a soft water which is particular available for a drinking purpose. That water will be soft water. So earlier when there was no any method for filtration, people used to boil the tap water or hand pump water and then they cool it and further they drink. And that is the safest part for drink, or you can say that is the safest method for a filtration of a water. Next is permanent hardness in water. Now earlier we have seen temporary hardness which we are removing by the boiling. Now whenever there is a permanent hardness in water, that will be due to the presence of calcium and magnesium chloride and sulfate. So calcium chloride can be, magnesium chloride can be, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate. These all four is responsible for the permanent hardness of a water. And it cannot be easily removed by boiling. Okay. Suppose if you want to remove this permanent hardness by boiling, so it cannot be possible. Means somewhat but not totally. Therefore we add washing soda. Therefore we react these all, what means this permanent hard water with a washing soda, where this permanent hardness can be easily removed. So suppose if it is calcium sulfate, so whenever we add calcium sulfate or whenever we add washing soda to calcium sulfate, they both react. Further calcium carbonate settle down as a precipitate and sodium sulfate remains there. That will dissolve in water and it can be removed. And if suppose the temporary hardness also, directly temporary hardness you want to remove it without boiling it, the best and preferable method, you add washing soda there also. So it can be also removed from there. So for temporary hardness you have to use boiling method, and for permanent hardness you have to just react it with the washing soda. Now next is soft water. When water lather readily with ordinary soap and give foam in large quantity, the given sample of water is called as soft water. Okay. So earlier we have seen respect to hard water, now it is soft water. Whenever we react this soap, ordinary soap, with the water and it gives large amount of foam, that is called as soft water. Soft water, the sources of soft water is rainwater and distilled water. Okay. Now here is one picture you can easily see. Soft water, whenever react with the soap, see it gives large amount of foam. And when it reacts with the hard water, there is no amount of foam and it remains like that only. Now these all are about the chapter. Here are some questions. Practice questions for you. Children, On page number 46, some experimental studies are given. You can go through that experiments. That all experiments are related to hard and soft water only, which we have discussed. See, first will be related to how you will identify hardness and softness. Easily you can take a help of soap. Second one, you have to identify whether it is temporary hard or permanent hard. So you can go through a process of boiling as well as adding washing soda. And third one, you have to study the advantage of using detergent over a soap. So go through that page number 46, the experimental study by your own. If you are having any problem, then ask. Okay. Now here are some practice questions. Some questions are given on page number 47, that reactions you do in the book only. Further, try to do all the questions by your own. Some questions are here of page number 48. Question number 14, 15, 21, 25, 27 and 28. Of page number 48, try to do these questions in the copy, your chemistry copy, okay? Then question number 2, differentiate between deliquescent and efflorescent substance, deliquescent and hygroscopic substance, temporary and permanent hard water. So for these three you have to give 2 points, okay? As you are writing in your as you are writing earlier, like the same, you will just divide the page into 2 parts, deliquescent substance one part, second part efflorescent substance, and you will write 2 points. And third question is, common salts are not a deliquescent substance, but still it turns moist on exposure to air. Why? Common salt are not a deliquescent substance, but still it turns moist on exposure to air. Why? See, this answer you will get on page number 42. This answer you will get on page number 42. So please go through page number 42 and try to find out the answer. Okay? And please write these all questions in the copy, in your fair copy, neat and clean. This is all about the chapter water. Okay?